right, guys, welcome back to another video. Lots to talk about today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like your daily gaming news. We'll talk about, first of all, here, Sea of Thieves, one of the Xbox games that was put onto the PlayStation platform. It is doing extremely well. If you remember from the Xbox business update, they talked about the 4 games that were going over to the other platforms, and they were going to use those games as tests to see if they wanted to continue to put more games on PlayStation. And from these results, I pretty much can say you can expect Xbox would be putting more live service games at the very least onto PlayStation. The Sea of Thieves is at number 1 in the PlayStation charts, and Grounded has broken into the top 10 in the US and in Europe. You take a look here at the charts of where these games are ranking, the top 10 downloaded games in April 2024 on the PlayStation 5. In the US and Canada, you have Helldivers 2 as number 1. And if you go down the list, you have Grounded down there at number 9. You have Sea of Thieves at number 3. But in Europe, Sea of Thieves is number 1 and Grounded is at number 8. So pretty impressive stuff there for these Xbox games going on to PlayStation. And you have to think the game was already huge. 40 million players that they had announced, and we're going to see a lot more players going into that. This is going to be a huge moneymaker here for Xbox. Although it already was, it's going to get even bigger. And then you have to ask yourself if this means that they are going to be putting more stuff in the future that are in the same genre or the same style of game as Sea of Thieves. And I think they will. I mean, this is proving to them that people want to play these games outside of the Xbox ecosystem and outside of the Xbox platform, and they're going to want people to check out their games no matter where they are. So impressive stuff here as Xbox games top the charts here on the PlayStation platform. And I mean, it's funny because PlayStation gamers always like to talk about first party and exclusives and all that type of stuff. But when it really comes down to it, you take a look at this list. You have Helldivers 2, which is obviously very successful. That isn't from a first party studio, but it is a multiplayer game. And you just look at the top games here: Sea of Thieves, Grand Theft Auto, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Call of Duty, EA Sports FC, Topspin 2K25, Grounded, It Takes Two, and Fallout 4. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 Xbox games here in the top list in the EU, and 1, 2, 3 Xbox games here in the top list for the US and Canada. So Xbox games are going to be dominating PlayStation charts here for the foreseeable future with the games that they do release, especially as games like Call of Duty come out going forward. So we will see what happens when that drops, and if they do put it into Xbox Game Pass or not, and if that will affect sales, because apparently now they're talking about whether they want to put it into Game Pass or not, which is something that, I mean, makes complete sense. It is the biggest franchise out there. They're obviously going to have discussions about whether Game Pass does drop into Xbox Game Pass, and we will probably see in June at the showcase what decision they have come to. All right, let's talk over here. Let's talk about Capcom, because Capcom has been obviously a gem in the games industry recently with all of the games that they are releasing. They just put out Dragon's Dogma 2, which was very, very successful, and they are announcing their 7th consecutive year of record results. They had their financial results, and they say here net sales were 152,410 million yen, which is up 21% year over year. Operating income was 57,081 million yen, which is up 12.3% year over year. And ordinary income was 59,422 million yen, which is up 15.7% year over year. And the net income attributable to owners or the parent was 43,374 million yen, up 18.1 year over year. The largest earner for Capcom was Resident Evil 4, the remake game that, I mean, was phenomenal. I got the collector's edition of it. I one of my favorite games that did come out last year. Sold 3.3 million units during its financial period, taking a lifetime sales of the game to 7 million units. You can look here at their top games. You have Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, and then Monster Hunter World, still way up there on their list. That rounds out the top 3. And then you have Dragon's Dogma 2 in there at number 4. which is really nice to see because the first Dragon's Dogma was kind of more of a niche cult classic RPG. A lot of people did not play it. So it's really cool that they've brought this IP and they've brought this game to prominence now within that genre. And you can expect more Dragon's Dogma content going forward because of its success. In fact, it has sold 2.6 million units since its release. I mean, Capcom, in my opinion, is probably the golden publisher out there, the idol, you could say, for everyone else to look at and kind of how to run your business and how to release your games and how to build the excitement for IP. So everything they put out has been pretty much knocking it out of the park. And I really don't see them slowing down. They have so much they can dive into for remakes, and they can obviously come up with new IPs and bring out sequels to games and just be successful all around. So Capcom's awesome. And again, they are showing it with their record results. All right, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch, because this is kind of I always find this weird when companies do this, when they end connections to social media platforms, because I feel like social media, although it is a vocal minority, I would say, when there's outrage or there's excitement, I mean, it doesn't represent everybody within the realm of video games. I think it is a very good tool for just sharing gameplay clips and showing people kind of what is happening within certain games. That is no different here for Nintendo or the Nintendo Switch, but it looks like they are ending their X support for the platform itself. It says beginning on June 10th, users will no longer be able to upload images to the service directly from Nintendo Switch machines, and the Nintendo Switch will no longer allow players to send friend requests to social media friends using X integration. So two things they're taking out here. I don't know how many people on the Switch actually use this feature, specifically sending the friend requests via X integration, but I mean, it's nice to have that in there. And this isn't the first platform that has done this. You've seen Sony and Microsoft discontinue X supports last year, and this may be something to do with X gaming and Elon Musk and the platform and all that stuff. Who knows? It is unfortunate because it was nice to see a lot of game clips that were just popped up there, and a lot of it was because of the ease of integration. So Nintendo Switch now doesn't have it. I hope for the next upcoming Switch they kind of revamp their overall online experience. It'd be nice to get rid of friend codes. It would be nice to just have it where it's more in line with the PlayStation and the Xbox experience for adding friends and for chatting with party chats and things like that. I hope they do invest a little bit in that. Maybe they look at their market and they realize people don't really care, so they don't want to waste their resources in doing that. But that would be one of my wishes for the Nintendo Switch too. All right, let's talk about Suicide Squad. The Kill the Justice League game, an absolute failure from Rocksteady. This is completely unfortunate because Rocksteady is a great studio. And the fact that they made this game and they made it as a games as a service instead of making a nice single player experience with these characters, made it kind of like a Batman Arkham game. Very unfortunate, and we are seeing the repercussions here. The question now will be, how does this affect Rocksteady going forward? Will they still have a studio? Will they be able to make more games? All of these things, especially with how the industry is going, with shrinkage, with the studio closures that we've been talking about, like those things are all now going to be in question. And it's now we know kind of the hit that this game has had on Warner Brothers. They say the launch and performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League cost Warner Brothers $200 million in revenue. It is the revelation that came during the company's Q1 earnings report. Specifically, here's what they say. Starting with studios, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline during Q1 was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter, and we know how big of a game that was. They say in conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to the EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization during the first quarter. So that's the hit that Suicide Squad has given to Warner Brothers. $200 million in revenue. Obviously, investors aren't going to be happy about that. Obviously, executives aren't going to be happy about that. And we'll see what happens here with Rocksteady. I really have my fingers crossed that they get another chance here to make a great single player experience, because I do think it will sell well and they will be able to recoup a lot of the negativity and losses that they had from the Suicide Squad game. Okay, let's jump over here. This is hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, this is absolutely hilarious. I laughed when I saw this, and it's because it has been a very tough week in the Xbox world and in the Phil Spencer world, in the employees who got laid off, like in the gaming world. It's just been extremely tough with the studio closures. If you're fans of the games, if you work there, everyone's been affected in some way with these studio closures. And one of the things that happened that you could say was because of this, although we now know from the interview they had with this guy, it really wasn't. It was just kind of his goal, was Phil Spencer. We know he plays games. That's one thing got to give to him. He's front facing, he plays games, and he interacts with the fans within games. And one of those games here is Fallout 76. In Fallout 76, you can set up your camp, you can set up your base, and it's an online world where you can meet other players. And you can actually nuke people's bases and just destroy what they have. And somebody went out here and nuked Phil Spencer's base in Fallout 76. And everyone is laughing at this and looking at it because of what has happened recently. But there is an interview here. Kotaku spoke with the guy who actually nuked Phil Spencer's base. And this is what the guy said. It's not too much. I have been planning to catch him for a while now to see if he would agree to a fight. So basically, it's not because of what's happened over the last week with the studio closures. He says, trying to take him down was just a personal goal for me after I finished the main quest line. He says, the big general Phil better not let me catch him. He wrote that back in April. And then you can see these tweets here. He is tweeting out. He shows where this tweet here shows where the camp is. You see P3's camp. And you see people responding to it. You see a video of the camp actually burning here because of the nuke. Like, it is just really, really funny that people have done this to Phil Spencer's camp. I wonder how much time he's put into it. I wonder if he's upset that this happened. Those are all questions I kind of have now, and maybe he will eventually respond to that. Probably not anytime soon because of everything that is going on. But yeah, people are making some fun out of this, which is it's a video game. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. But I thought that was just pretty funny. Okay, let's jump over here and let's talk Helldivers 2, because we know the whole debacle with Helldivers 2. We know about the review bombs, and we know about them forcing PSN requirements on people who they didn't previously need it. And then they went back on their decision because of all of the review bombing on Steam. One of the questions that a lot of people have had once Sony reversed their decision was all those countries where the game actually got delisted, or the game you weren't able to access it anymore because PSN wasn't supported, would you be able to again re-access it after they reversed their decision? And it looks like that still isn't available. So this whole thing with Helldivers 2 isn't fixed. I know people put all their negative reviews to positive, but this truly isn't fixed yet, because there are still lots of countries, 177 countries, despite the PSN U-turn, that cannot access Helldivers 2. So here is what you need to know about this. As Helldivers 2 players on Steam recently review bombed the game to protest publisher Sony's plan to force PC users to link their Steam account to a PSN. And then they did not implement the requirements. They reversed it. And with that, it meant that non-PSN territories were unable to access the game itself. So after they axed that plan, the question was, would you still be able to play this game in those 177 regions where PSN wasn't supported? And the game still has not been made available to buy again since they reversed their decision. And we have CEO of Helldivers 2 developer Arrowhead, Johan Pelstead, confirming that he's speaking directly with Sony and Valve and fighting to get the game sold in these regions once again. He says, I won't rest in my desire to have it available elsewhere. So this isn't fixed yet. This isn't fully complete. It isn't a win fully here for gamers, because it is unfortunate here that this decision reversed the game being available where it previously wasn't. People could actually play it and buy it, and now they can't anymore. So we will see if they can work it out, and hopefully there is an update sooner rather than later to get these games back up on the stores to be able to be purchased and played. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.